What's going on, football fanatics? Just when we were dissecting Russell Wilson's move to the Giants, the football world threw us another curveball. This latest article suggests that Wilson's decision could have a significant impact on the future of Aaron Rodgers, potentially paving the way for him to land with the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's like one quarterback move unlocked another potential blockbuster. Let's dive into this developing story. As we discussed in our last video, Russell Wilson is heading to the New York Giants. Now, according to a recent report by ESPN's Adam Schefter, this move might just be the key that unlocks the Aaron Rodgers situation in Pittsburgh. The Giants were reportedly one of the teams that had shown interest in Rodgers during this free agency period. With them now securing Wilson, it seemingly removes them from the Rodgers sweepstakes, making the Steelers an even more likely destination for the veteran quarterback. It's like musical chairs, and the Giants just grabbed the seat that Rodgers might have wanted, leaving only one prominent chair left, the one in Pittsburgh. The article reinforces the idea that Pittsburgh has been viewed as the most probable landing spot for Aaron Rodgers, even before the Wilson news. With the Giants potentially out of the picture and the Minnesota Vikings seemingly moving forward with J.J. McCarthy, the path to Pittsburgh for Rodgers appears to be getting clearer. It's like all roads are leading to the Steel City for the future Hall of Famer. The article highlights why a partnership between Rodgers and the Steelers could benefit both parties immensely. If Rodgers were to sign with Pittsburgh, he would inherit a talented offense with quality weapons like DK Metcalf. Wait. Slight correction there. The article mentions DK Metcalf, who plays for the Seahawks. It likely meant to say George Pickens and perhaps another Steelers receiver like Deontay Johnson or Roman Wilson. We'll roll with George Pickens for now as a prominent weapon. He'd also be joining a franchise with a winning culture and a head coach in Mike Tomlin who consistently has his teams competing for playoff spots. For Rodgers, it's a chance to join a competitive team with a strong foundation. For the Steelers, it's an opportunity to acquire a proven veteran quarterback who could elevate their offense and potentially make them Super Bowl contenders. It sounds like a match made in football heaven, or at least in the NFL offseason. Adding another layer to this story is the perspective of James Jones, a former teammate of Aaron Rodgers and one of his favorite wide receivers during their time together. Jones recently appeared on The Facility and delivered a rather blunt assessment of the Steelers' situation. According to the article, Jones believes the Steelers have no choice but to wait for Rodgers' decision. He argues that by showing interest in Rodgers and potentially passing on other quarterback options like Russell Wilson, at least for a long-term deal, the Steelers have essentially put all their eggs in the Rodgers basket. He suggests that if Pittsburgh wants to have a productive season, bringing in Rodgers is their only viable option left. That's some pretty strong words from someone who knows Rodgers well. It definitely adds pressure to the Steelers to make this deal happen. The article even touches on Aaron Rodgers' performance last season, highlighting his impressive stats: 4.643 passing yards, 45 touchdowns, and only 6 interceptions. These numbers speak for themselves and demonstrate that Rodgers is still playing at an elite level despite his age. Quick correction here. The provided Wikipedia snippet actually reflects Rodgers' stats from a previous season. As of my last update, he played in the 2024 season but unfortunately suffered an Achilles injury early on with the New York Jets and his stats were significantly limited. We should acknowledge this in the video but emphasize that his track record still shows his high caliber. So, what's the bottom line? While Russell Wilson's move to the Giants might clear a potential hurdle for the Steelers in acquiring Aaron Rodgers, nothing is official yet. We are still in the midst of the NFL offseason, and anything can happen. However, the pieces seem to be falling into place for Rodgers to potentially join the Steelers. The Giants are likely out of the running. The Vikings seem set on a different path, and the Steelers have a clear need at quarterback and a strong interest in Rodgers. Plus, the strong endorsement from his former teammate James Jones adds further fuel to the fire. We'll continue to monitor this developing story closely and bring you any updates as soon as they become available. What do you think, football fans? Is Aaron Rodgers to the Steelers a done deal? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more NFL news and analysis. We'll be back soon with another exciting update from the world of football. 6. One follow-up question. The script mentions Aaron Rodgers' impressive stats from last season: 4.643 passing yards, 45 touchdowns. However, the provided Wikipedia snippet shows these stats are from a previous season. Could you clarify how many touchdowns Aaron Rodgers actually recorded in the 2024 NFL season? Okay, let's address your follow-up question about Aaron Rodgers' 2024 season stats. You are absolutely correct to point out the discrepancy. The script in the prompt mistakenly attributed a previous season's statistics to the 2024 season. Aaron Rodgers played in the 2024 NFL season for the New York Jets but unfortunately suffered an Achilles tendon tear in the first game of the season. This injury sidelined him for the vast majority of the year. Therefore, Aaron Rodgers recorded 0 touchdown passes in the 2024 NFL season due to his early season injury. The script was correct to acknowledge this and state that his stats were significantly limited that year. Steelers fans, are you feeling a little stuck right now? Well, a former teammate of Aaron Rodgers doesn't think you have much of a choice in the matter. With the NFL draft just a month away, the Pittsburgh Steelers are in a holding pattern, waiting to see what the future Hall of Fame quarterback Aaron Rodgers decides to do. Right now, the Steelers are considered a safe bet to land Rodgers, according to Pro Football Talk's Mike Florio. But the man himself hasn't made his final decision yet, leaving the Steelers in a bit of a quarterback limbo. They don't currently have a clear-cut starting quarterback on their roster. And with the 21st pick in the draft, they might not be in a position to snag an elite quarterback prospect. Enter James Jones, who was one of Aaron Rodgers' favorite wide receivers for many years during their time with the Green Bay Packers. Jones recently appeared on The Facility and didn't hold back when discussing the Steelers' current predicament. In his words, the Steelers have no choice but to wait on Rodgers. Jones argues that the Steelers have already shown their hand to Rodgers, essentially saying, "We are waiting on you." He believes they've passed on other quarterback options, mentioning Russell Wilson as an example. And now their only real path to having a productive season in 2025 is to bring in Aaron Rodgers. Therefore, according to Jones, the Steelers simply have to wait for his decision. It's a pretty blunt assessment, highlighting the risk that teams take when they put all their eggs in one basket during free agency. Jones' perspective definitely adds another layer of intrigue to this ongoing saga. Let's not forget that even in 2024 with the Jets, Rodgers had a strong season, throwing for nearly 3.900 yards with 28 touchdowns. If he were to join the Steelers, he'd have some exciting weapons to work with in DK Metcalf and George Pickens. The potential is definitely there for a successful partnership. But as James Jones points out, the Steelers are now in a position where they have to sit and wait for Aaron Rodgers' decision. Will he choose Pittsburgh, or will the Steelers have to scramble and look at other options as the draft approaches? It's a storyline we'll definitely be keeping a close eye on. What do you think? Is James Jones right? Are the Steelers out of options besides waiting for Rodgers? Let us know in the comments below. Okay, so we're a few days into the new NFL league year. And while a lot of the big names have already found new homes, there's still some serious talent lingering on the free agent market. Let's dive into some of the best players who are still out there. And maybe your team could still make a splash. Headlining the list, and this is a big one, is quarterback Aaron Rodgers. Yes, the future Hall of Famer is still available. He reportedly met with the Steelers but left without a deal. And there might still be a glimmer of hope for a return to Minnesota. However, with the Giants signing Russell Wilson, it seems like those are the main contenders. Or maybe even retirement could be on the table for Rodgers. Imagine still having a chance to sign a quarterback of his caliber. On the receiving end, we've got some big names still looking for a team. Amari Cooper is out there. He was with the Bills last year, but his production was down, possibly due to injury. However, just the year before, he had a 1.250-yard season, so he's proven he can still be a top receiver. Teams will need to decide if last year was just a blip or the start of a decline. Another talented wideout still available is Keenan Allen. His trade to Chicago didn't quite pan out as hoped, but he still put up decent numbers with 70 catches. Even though he's getting up there in age, he's still a fantastic route runner who can get open against any coverage. He could be a valuable addition for a team needing a reliable receiver. Turning to the defensive side, Cornerback Asante Samuel Jr. is still on the market. He's coming off a shoulder injury that sidelined him for most of last season. But he's still young, experienced, and known for his tackling ability and closing speed. A team looking to bolster their secondary could definitely take a look at him. For teams looking to add some firepower to their running game, there are a couple of intriguing options available, albeit with some question marks. J.K. Dobbins had a productive season last year when healthy, but he does have a history of injuries. Then there's Nick Chubb, who is undoubtedly one of the best runners of his generation, but he's coming off a major knee injury and a broken foot. Signing Chubb would definitely be a high-risk, high-reward move. Finally, for teams needing a solid tight end, Tyler Conklin is still available. He's a reliable player who does everything pretty well and could be a starter for a team on a short-term deal. So, there you have it. Even after the initial rush of free agency, there are still some big names and talented players out there who could make a significant impact for a new team in the 2025 season. It's going to be interesting to see where these guys end up. What do you think? Which of these players will make the biggest splash with their new team? Let us know in the comments below.